I'm not really sure why, but this is fun every time. Got him. All right, welcome back. We're back out on the lake today doing some freshwater fishing. I got my downrigger here. And if you follow the channel, I did some salmon fishing, lake salmon fishing a few videos back. Right now, ocean salmon season is totally shut down for the entire year. There's not gonna be any salmon season in California for 2023. But the one salmon that you can catch are these landlocked salmon. There's two different kinds of landlocked salmon, as far as I know, in California. There are king salmon that are landlocked, and you can catch those, but there's also kokanee, and in my opinion, kokanee are the best freshwater eating fish out there. And today my goal is to catch a limit of 5 big eating kokanee. And I got my downrigger here, like I was saying. I'm gonna set up both rods on one single downrigger. I'll show you how I do that. I've done it before, but it's been a little while, so I'll show you exactly how I do that. And we're gonna have everything on film. I'm gonna have both rods right here set up. At least that's what I'm envisioning. I don't really know how I'm gonna set up. I got all my pieces and accessories here to set up still. I don't know how I'm going to exactly arrange it, but I want all of my rods to be one shot on the downrigger. That way, for sure, anything that hits it, boom, you're going to see it on film. All right, we got everything set up here. I think if this works the way I want it to, it should be set up perfectly. So, what we got here is a Dodger, and then behind it, we have a little hoochie there. And on this hoochie, we're going to strap on a couple pieces of canned corn. And last time I came out here, I felt like I missed a couple fish, or I lost a couple fish, because the hooks I was using were a little bit too small. I feel like the kokanee here were a little bit bigger than the ones I was used to, and I think my hooks were a little bit too small, so that caused me to maybe not get as good of a hook set on a couple of them. So my plan was to size up my hooks a little bit, but I forgot to bring the hooks. So we're just gonna go roll with the same hooks that we got on here from before. A little bit small, but should get the job nonetheless. One thing I did change was last time, yeah, I caught fish last time and it definitely worked, but last time my leader from the blade to the hoochie was a little bit longer, and this time I made it a little bit shorter because this sling blade right here, when it swings through the water, it actually gives this hoochie a little bit of action, and the longer leader, the farther away from the sling blade that the hoochie is, the less action it's going to get. So today I decided to shorten up a little bit, just test it out, see if it makes any huge difference. I honestly don't think it's going to make that much of a difference, but just wanted to test it anyways. So first things first, we're going to set this back a little bit, just normal, you know, length away from the downrigger. Probably, honestly, I don't think it matters that much. You go anywhere from like 10 feet to, you could go way back if you wanted to, but, oh, you know what? I just snagged a weed. Good thing I caught that. That would not have been good. I don't think a fish would have eaten that one. Okay, that's back. Now let's clip this in the downrigger. Okay, so now that that's down, I'm going to put this down about 10 feet, which on this downrigger is 10 turns. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm just going to loosen this drag so that way, well, you'll see later, but loosen that drag for now. And then I'm going to take this one, my second setup, same thing, Dodger, hoochie with corn here tipped on the end. Make sure there's no grass on here. And drop this one back, not quite as far as the first one, so maybe 20 feet on this one. And then with this one, I'm going to take this little clip here. This is a little accessory. It's basically another clothespin type thing, just like the first one. And then it's got a little pin here. So with this one, I'm just going to clip this right onto the downrigger cable, just like that. And it shouldn't slide too much. If you really have a problem with it sliding, well, in the lake we won't have a problem with it, but if you were in the ocean with some heavier gear, you might have a problem with it sliding around. You can put little beads on the, or little stuff on the wire there to keep it from sliding, but on the lake we shouldn't have any problem with that. And then now that this first rod that we have here is on loose drag, so once I start turning this and it starts going down, it's just going to go down with it. It's not going to pop the downrigger. I'm just going to drop this down. Some ospreys. Okay, so now we have 2 rods on the downrigger here. Tighten this drag back up. Make sure it's good. Not too tight, but we don't want it to just be flowing out. This one's down about 25 feet, and this one's down about 35 feet. And so now, we just put this in here. Honestly, we could put this anywhere, but we'll just put it here for now. We're covering 2 depths of the water column there. One setup, and they're both on the downrigger, so if a fish hits it, pop off. We're just going to be bringing the fish in, no weight, just the downrigger, or just the flasher and the fish. So beautiful little setup here. It takes a little while to get it set up, and once we get a fish, we have to bring it all back up and then reset it again. But I think that once we have this, you know, this little setup here, we're going to be covering this water column very, very effectively, and we're coming over some fish right now, so I wouldn't be surprised if one of these rods didn't pop off very, very soon. So anyways, that's the setup. We're out here, 7:05, got lines in, and if it's anything like it was last time, it shouldn't be long before one of these rods starts going off. Here's your fish. That's your fish. There it goes. Oh, either caught up in my other line or I got a double here. This is the only problem with this setup, is it creates more opportunities for handles up. Okay, there we go. Yep, still there. All right, first fish of the day. We had a little tangle up there, so honestly, he doesn't have much energy left. Took me a while to get that unraveled, but I'm trying to debate if I should keep this one or not. I think I'm gonna just let it go. I wanted to catch 5 big ones. So last time I think I caught 2 big ones and 3 smaller ones. I think they were all good, but this is the first one. I think I'm just gonna let this one go. Kokanee number 1. There he goes. There's like 1 bald eagle right here. Oh, is that another? No, that's another. That's not. Maybe 2 bald eagles. Yeah, 2 bald eagles. I saw an osprey back there, and I saw another osprey this morning. Maybe that's it over there. All kinds of bird action out here. And I think I honestly kind of got them going when I had that fish flopping around on the side here. One of them was looking for an easy meal, but unfortunately that one swam back down to the bottom. Unfortunately for them, fortunately for the fish. Get one already. Got one on the drop. On the drop. On the drop. This one feels like a better one. On the drop. On the drop. We found them. We found them, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'm tangled up on my other rod, unfortunately. This is the only problem with running the 2-rod system that we have here. It does get tangled up a little more. Oh yeah. Oh, this one is all... That is unfortunate, but at least we caught the fish. I think I'm gonna... Not a huge one, but I think I'm gonna keep this one. Yeah, you know what, that's a nice one. We'll keep this one. Plus he's all wrapped up and everything. So, oh, that's close, I almost dropped him. Alright, that's gonna be the first one for the ice box. That's a nice little landlocked kokanee. Basically a sockeye salmon that doesn't make it to the ocean. That's Kokanee salmon. So anyways, first one there. We'll take care of him and then get our line back in. I got a little bit of a tangle here, unfortunately, but nothing we can't handle. Fish. Oh, that's it. All right, I think we finally got everything back set up. A little bit of chaos there. Had one, well, I caught one, and unfortunately got wrapped up with my other rod, and then had to retie that one to get that one all set up. And while I was getting that one set back up, the other one went off, but unfortunately that one didn't stick either. So finally, I think we're now back fishing effectively. I feel like I found a little spot here where there's some fish holding. I'm even marking some as we speak. So hopefully we can get hooked up again here soon. Hopefully we can avoid the tangles. The idea is that these don't tangle on the way up, so I think I'm doing something wrong, but we'll just keep working with it for now, see if I can figure it out. But while we're doing that, let me talk a little bit about the battery that we use for this kayak. Welcome to the Dad Fishing Kayak Den. So a lot of people ask me what kind of battery I use to power this trolling motor right here. This is the trolling motor that pairs with my Old Town Autopilot. It's a Minn Kota, really nice trolling motor. It's got spot lock, cruise control, directional assist, I don't really know what you call it. A lot of features on this thing. It's a really nice motor. And one thing you need to know in order to use that, or one thing you need to carry with you in order to use that, is a battery. And at the bare minimum, you need a 12 volt 100 amp hour battery. And there's two different kind of categories of batteries. One is a lithium ion battery and one is a lead acid battery. I always recommend going with the lithium ion battery. It is a little bit more expensive, but in my opinion, the extra features that you get with the lithium ion battery, which we'll talk about in a little bit, are definitely worth the extra cost. And there's a ton of different brands, but that brings me to the sponsor of this video, which is Lead Time. Lead Time sent me this here 12 volt 100 amp hour lithium ion battery. This is a perfect battery for this kayak, and there's a lot of different brands, but this is actually one of the cheaper lithium ion batteries that I've seen. So if you're looking to get a good price while still getting that value of the lithium ion features, I recommend checking out Lead Time. So really quickly, I'll show you how we install this onto the kayak. So the kayak comes with this battery box right here. This is the bottom, and this is the top right here. So you can see on the bottom of the top, I guess, it has the connectors here that connect to the battery, and on the top, this is the connector that connects into the actual kayak. So first we'll take the bottom of the container of this, just drop that right in, no problem. So you can see there's a red side and a black side, positive, negative, and then we're just gonna match that up with the positive and negative on the lid, and super simple, just like you would think. Unscrew these screws, and then just make sure you don't connect the two. You don't want those to, you don't want to short out your battery. But yeah, we'll put one side on one, red to red, black to black, and then screw these down. All right, tighten them by hand, and then if you have a screwdriver, it's nice to tighten those down a little bit more, just so that connection's nice and sound. And that's it, pretty simple. This little box here has a little strap to keep it in place. So we just buckle that in, like so, and then that's it. And then once we have it like this, there's a little slot in the kayak right underneath the seat. This thing slides right in, and then a plug, you just plug this right into the kayak, and that connects to the motor. So there's a few different benefits on choosing a lithium ion battery over a lead acid battery, but the main benefits and the reasons why I always recommend people to check out the lithium ion is, one, it's way lighter, at least half of the weight. And anytime you're carrying around the kayak, less weight, obviously, is always better. And secondly, the way that a lithium battery operates, I'm no scientist, and I'm sure there's probably a better video on YouTube to describe this better, but basically, you start off with 100% power, and you start off 100% power depending on, regardless of if you're using a lithium ion or a lead acid battery. But the way that a lead acid battery depreciates its power or loses its powers, it's a slow burn, basically. So you start off at 100% and you kind of lose power. So basically what that means is, if I'm on full power, going 3.5 miles an hour when I start using the battery, when it's at 100%, that's great. But then halfway through or 3/4 of the way through, and I'm still trying to get full power on the motor, the battery wears itself down as it goes down, so you won't be getting that top speed all the way through the charge. only at the top. But the way a lithium ion battery works is even though it's still, it's losing its capacity, it's only at maybe 50% of the battery capacity left, you still get that full 12 amps of power. So you should still get full speed all the way up until the very end when it kind of dives off. So I don't know, I guess there's some benefits and some downsides to that as well, but just something to keep in mind. With the lead acid battery, you're going to get that full power all the way through, or at least the majority of the charge, whereas the lead acid battery, it's kind of a slow burn. You slowly to lose power all the way through. So if you're looking for a good price while still getting the premium features of a lithium ion battery, definitely recommend checking out Lead Time. And whether you're using it for a boat, RV, or maybe even a kayak like mine, Lead Time features a variety of different options. They got 12-volt batteries, 24-volt batteries, 100 amp hour, 200 amp hour. They have all kinds of different shapes and sizes of batteries. So definitely recommend checking them out. I have a link to this one in the video description. Well, thank you again to Lead Time for sponsoring this video. Welcome back. Just a thought I had, it would probably be a lot easier and avoid more tangles if I just had one rod pointed off of each side of the kayak. But I want to get the action shot of that rod popping off the diners. That's why I have them both on this side here. So just a thought, if you were doing this on your own and didn't care about the filming, like I'm sure most of you do or don't, it's probably best to angle both rods off separate sides of the boat or kayak just to avoid tangles. Oh, there's a bite. There's a bite. Take it. Pop it off the downrigger. There it goes. There it goes. There it goes. Slack. Dang. I don't know what it is. I'm not avoiding the snags. I might have to just separate the two rods on each side of the kayak here to avoid this. But see if we can bring this one up without it getting too bad. Oh, there's this little guy. The little one. Let's release this one. Oh, quick release. Easy. This is not what we want though. This is a jumbled mess. Alright, let's undo this. I'm going to just put two rods on each side of it. Wanted to get it all together, but I just don't think it's worth it at this point. Alright, one on each side. Shouldn't have any tangles now. Kokanee. Maybe a little better one, can't really tell. No, about the same. Nice one though. Yeah, we'll keep this one. Number 2 going in the cooler. Well, interesting. That one hit right as I was speeding up. I was actually going over a little bump in the terrain, so I was speeding up to kind of get over that hump, and that one hit right when that happened. So either that fish was sitting on that hump waiting to feed, or that little burst of speed triggered the bite. And I'm actually marking quite a few fish right here, so I'm gonna get that back down there. See, I need to investigate this. I think I might have found something. Right away, right away. I think it's the speed, guys. I think it's the speed. I didn't even get back to the same spot that I was at last time. I think the speed is key. Going a little bit faster. Maybe a little bigger one. Oh, it's jumping. Oh yeah, it looks a little bigger. Bring him in nice and easy, just like a king salmon in the ocean. Such a good sight to see your flasher, your dodger just skimming across the top of the water like that with a little dorsal fin behind it. And I brought my net this time. I got my net last time. That's a nice Kokanee. This is the one, this is the model that I was after. That's a really big one. That's even bigger than any of the ones I caught last time. Normally with the kokanee that we caught so far, it doesn't really matter, but I think this fish could actually break this line if I wasn't careful. So make sure my drag's set good. If he goes on a run, I want to just let him go for it. Honestly, this net might be a little small for him, but I'll try it. Hopefully he's nice and tired out. Thrashing, no thrashing, oh no thrashing. Like that. Stay pinned, buddy, stay pinned. Oh yeah, that's a nice one. That's a big kokanee. It's like an ocean salmon. I caught some kings that were smaller than this one last year. I can't even grip in one hand. Look at that thing. Monster kokanee. Normally I can just hold them like this with one hand, but this one's so big, gotta throw it in the gill. That's a big kokanee right there. So these kokanee, you know, they stock them, and I'm pretty sure they only last 1 or 2 years in the lake. And they don't get much bigger than this as far as I know. I'm sure some of you seasoned kokanee veterans have caught them bigger, but this is definitely the biggest one I've caught in my limited experience. Maybe it was the speed. I think maybe my speed was just a little bit too slow at the beginning. Probably the biggest salmon I'm going to catch this year. Unless, of course, I go out of California, but biggest California salmon. I didn't bring my ruler, but it's probably, I don't know, 16 inches, maybe a little bit more. Big boy. That's going to be perfect for the oven. Nice and easy. I said this last time, but you want a nice bendy rod just to absorb all those head shakes. Kokanee have pretty soft mouths, so a lot of times that hook will rip through those mouths if you're not careful. You got the net, might as well use it. Let's get that job, there we go. Yeah, that's not a bad one. Similar to the first couple that we kept. That's number 4. Alright, well, that's gonna wrap it up for today. Never did get that 5th limit fish, but that's okay. Truthfully, we caught more than our limit anyways, but we were just letting some go. Look for the big one, and the big one we actually found. We found one really, really big one. Definitely the biggest kokanee I've ever caught. And I'm not sure if maybe that's normal for this area, but I think it's a big one. And the little stacking system that I had, other than the first 2 tangles, which we worked out later, worked pretty well, other than the fish catching. Honestly, the fish never, I didn't get a single bite on this setup. And it could have been for a couple reasons. One, it's at a slightly higher depth, so maybe that bottom depth was really key. Or maybe it was the setup. This Hoochie setup is pretty similar, although it has some subtle differences, so maybe that made a difference. Although I do know that this same setup caught fish last time, so I don't think it's the Hoochie. I think maybe it was the depth difference. Maybe that getting down a little bit deeper might have been key today. Anyways, thank y'all for watching. Make sure I don't get run over on my way in. Oh, and if you like the freshwater content, more freshwater content coming soon. Tomorrow I'm actually going fishing on another lake for a species that I've never put on film, so we'll see. Hopefully I can get one tomorrow. Only time will tell, but hopefully you all will join me there. Thank you again for watching. We'll see you on the next one.